Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the special reading which I'm doing for Venus Goes Direct. The reason why I decided to do this reading is, well, because I felt an intuitive nudge, firstly, and the second thing was that I know a lot of people recently, because of Venus being retrograde, have gone through quite a lot of like hard lessons regarding relationships, and we want to know what's coming next. And as finally Venus is going to be direct, which means you have a time now in your life coming where you probably won't be going through a lot of relationship tests and lessons. And these are not my words, but some of the astrologers that I have really been following have said that if you met someone in Venus retrograde, you know, just afterwards take it slow, because it's teaching you something. You know, it's just meeting someone at that time or really connecting with someone at that time. There's someone new, I mean. There might be certain things that were mirrored to you because Venus went retrograde, so it was sort of past aspects of yourself that are requiring healing. However, I'm not an astrologer. I'm going to focus more on what the cards are going to tell us regarding love. I feel like I should have got like a pink deck, but yeah, I'm actually going to get my pink deck because for some reason this doesn't fit, and I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to grab my Muse deck, which I've got here. Let's see, I'm excited for this reading because a lot of people have been wanting. I know a lot of people have recently been like, oh my god, how much more healing are we going through, you know? How much more are we going to have to heal? And I get it, you know? You've been going through a lot of healing, and sometimes for some of you, a lot of people like, I've been really socializing lately, so, you know, I hear a lot, and quite a few people have been saying, you know, well, when is it my turn? I'm seeing all, like, you know, they're seeing all their friends and people in their community build a life, get money, you know, save and everything, and we, or if, you know, I've been there, and, you know, having this feeling of, well, when is it gonna be your turn? You know, this feeling of when is it going to be the time where you get to experience that exact thing, you know, that feeling of like having someone and maybe even having money flowing, the stability, as well as all these aspects coming together. And that's exactly what Venus retrograde was about. It was about sifting and sorting what isn't working or hasn't worked in the past and really letting it go and redefining your relationships with money, love and beauty. Maybe you realized that actually you really do like money a lot. I know, who doesn't? I get it. But maybe, you know, you want a luxurious life and, you know, you don't want to compromise on that. Maybe that's become clear to you. Perhaps now you'll be selective of the places and communities that you hang out in, you know, because you've realized actually I quite like this luxurious lifestyle. I'm not going to settle for anything less. Or you have realized actually it doesn't matter to me that much, you know. Money does matter, but it, like, I don't really, like, beauty means something else to you than it may to someone else. That's what you have been defining in this period. And after this period of sifting and sorting, now you're ready to kind of go out there and really step into the world with this new lens, and perhaps and hopefully a bit more clarity on what you want in the sectors of money, love and beauty. So, and that's where the connection between money and love comes as well. It's ruled by the same planet. So let's see what is coming up. Oh, this deck is better, right? Okay, this deck is much better. Oh, okay. We get one card, which is actually in reversal. 3 of Cups, Temperance, 3 of Cups, 3 of Emotions. But why is it upside down? Okay. Ooh, I get a certain vibe, like I don't normally get for 3 of Cups, this kind of vibe. This is normally a card of, I don't know if you can see, yeah. This is normally a card of like friendships and communities, and here it's somehow not giving me that vibe. It's giving kind of like, wow, I haven't read this card in that way before. It's almost giving me that Oh, I'm definitely seeing moon here as well. Do you see the moon in the middle? This woman is holding a moon, and then there's like the crescent moon on the sides, and this one woman around here is much more relaxed, but the other one is a bit more vigilant. Okay, here's the message I get. You have now balanced your dark feminine as well as your light feminine energy. The dark feminine being the one has been through the hurts, been through hardships in life, been through these past relationships which haven't worked out, and you know, these past relationships which was so testing. Testing is the word. You know, it almost felt like at times just life felt unfair. Despite having gone through so many lessons, having awareness of what you want, you were kind of still tested, and this came up, and you're kind of like, you know, have developed this facade, which is not like, I wouldn't say it's like becoming avoidant. No, it's not an avoidant facade, but it's like, how many more tests, you know? But for some of you, it would be an avoidant facade. Some of you are just like, I'm giving it up. You know, I'm giving up on this. I have gone through so many things. And that's where I think this kind of like, not mean, but very much like, it's not an open, like, you know, it's not like an open energy. It's very much like you're using your discernment, almost like you're checking your boundaries are always in place. You're kind of like, I'm never going to be doing anything with the rose-colored tint, rose-tinted glasses. Rose-colored tinted glasses. I'm not going to be viewing the world again with those, ever. So this is where your discernment side comes in, one side. And then there's another side of you, which is this feminine. So they're both feminine, but this is more like the light feminine. It's a bit more open. It's a bit more flowy. It's more soft. It's more lighter. It's lighter, and it's balanced by the dark. So this is actually a very good thing. I think this is actually balancing everything that you have been through in the past. Now your lessons aren't necessarily going to be to do with your boundaries per se. They're not going to be. They're going to be more about just more about how much do you believe in what you are asking for. How much do you believe that it is possible for you? It's going to be more about that. Before, the lessons would have been looking at your core wounds, your wounds from the past, you know, where you weren't treated nicely, where someone may have taken advantage of you, someone may have treated you badly. Before, those were the wounds that you were going through, and actually really correcting them, looking at them. Where are they stemming from? And some of them may have even not been yours, but perhaps your ancestral ones. You know, sometimes when things don't make sense, like, you know, when you feel like you have done so much work and you are a confident person going out there and really just speaking your mind, and, you know, at work you are great, but certain wounds still kind of play in your relationships. Sometimes they're not necessarily yours, they are more ancestral. At least I believe that, because that has happened for me. Like, you know, I consider myself to be quite confident, but there are certain aspects of me that used to come up, and I've been like, why is this coming up? And usually there's been two reasons. One, where my energy has been drained quite a bit, and that's just setting boundaries with myself. Like, you know, either I have overgiven in work, or like I've done, you know, I've just gotten so engrossed in a project that I have been loving that that's happened. Or maybe I have just been overthinking about something and been in this uncertainty phase that's led to energy depletion, and then, you know, something has entered in my reality. Yeah, do watch out for that as well. If your energy is depleted and someone enters your reality, take a pause, and or just really, that's when you will need to wake up, because your energy management system needs to be very what's the word? You need to have a protocol for that. As methodical as I sound, that's what you actually need, because your system is made differently. You are made differently. I said that in the last reading as well. I think it's quite a big topic recently, that if you feel like, why are the tests repeating? It's not necessarily the tests themselves that are repeating. It's just that you are depleted. and perhaps it's just the universe guiding you to develop a protocol for yourself when your energy is so depleted that you say, no, it's time to go home. Or when you feel like, you're in an environment where perhaps it's a party or something like that, but you're like, actually, I need to go home, I'm not feeling the vibe, or something like that. Wherever you are, perhaps you go into like a certain area in your town or something, you're like, nah, I'm not about this, I'm leaving right now. So it's having that discernment and quick decision making to be able to move when you need to move. And that's really gonna save you so many times. Literally, as a self-defense teacher in the past, that's what I used to tell my clients and my students who used to attend my courses. I would be like, okay, as soon as that feeling hits you, whether that is tiredness or whether that's an intuitive nudge, like, where it's saying don't turn here, don't turn there, you've got to listen to it. And that's what I'm getting here. Anyways, coming back to the card, what I'm getting here is you have actually learned a lot of lessons that you've gone through with different relationships, or the woundings that have come up, and now you are in much better place to make a decision of what you give your energy to and not. And it's less about being dreamy. Perhaps before, with past relationships, you have been so dreamy, or then you became too avoidant, you flipped between one or the other, and now you are the version of yourself that is in the middle, right? Which, so when you need to use your dark feminine, you use it. And when you need to set boundaries, when you need to leave, when you need to block certain people, when you need to leave a situation, you do that. And there's also a part of you which is like, if you are being approached by someone, or you are wanting to approach someone yourself, you're doing it with much more openness and confidence and this warmth within you, which allows people to connect with you more, and you seem approachable. And then we do get Temperance here, which is all about balance. And actually, funnily enough, Venus going direct also means Libra full moon on the same day, which is all about balanced relationships. So something is getting balanced within your life. So maybe you've had a certain attachment styles. I've been looking at attachment styles lately quite a bit. Maybe you've had a certain attachment style which has been more avoidant, or perhaps has been more what's the other one? Anxious, or maybe you have been disorganized, anxious, avoidant for a while. And right now it seems like perhaps you are really coming to this point in your life where you are a secure attached person, which is wonderful news. That's a big achievement and to be celebrated. How do you know if you're a securely attached person now? Well, you have probably noticed it recently. If someone ghosted you, it doesn't bother you as much. If someone is treating you badly, you leave, you set boundaries. If someone is like not showing the same level of, reciprocal effort in a dating situation or a relationship, you kind of decide, well, this is not for me, but not you don't react. You are responding to things, but not reacting to things. Perhaps previously you would have sent long paragraphs. You would have been like, oh my gosh, all these, writing down like all these things, like, I'm never going to let this happen, blah, blah, blah. But now your reactions aren't necessarily extreme, is all I'm going to say. Okay, so, now you're probably a lot more balanced. Now you're feeling a lot more like, yeah, I've got this, it's okay. Like, I've got this situation happen. Well, that's part of life, that happens with jobs. You apply for a different job, you get certain level of rejections, you build resilience, then you apply for the next thing. And then before you know it, you end up being at the perfect dream career or the next perfect job that you would have, that you are meant to be at. And that's exactly the same with relationships, at least in my opinion. My opinion is that. So there's that balance reached in your inner world, which is fantastic and beautiful, that you have reached this inner balance where you are able to actually feel a lot more like, you know what? Yeah, if it didn't work, yeah, that's fine. If it did, then you know what? Okay, I'll try it. Right, what else is coming up? Let's see, are there any fears to be eliminated? Is there certain things that we need to consider? Okay, I asked the question, are there any fears to be eliminated? And this is the card that came up, which is the High Priestess. What a card. I'm seeing a lot of blue here, considering I picked out this pink deck and I picked the blue deck before. I noticed what I'm intuitively led to, like what colours, and I do go for them. So the priestess, the high priestess, is very intuitive, very much in tune with her body and with her mind, soul, and very much connected to the universe. Yeah, this is what I'm getting here. You're very much connected. If there are any fears still coming up, maybe you have certain questions. You know, I hear that someone is actually thinking, you know, if I'm balanced, then where is my manifestation of a partner, of love in my life? Where is that? You know, I have balanced myself, I have done the healing work, then where is it? And this is the question you will need to ask within yourself with the priestess, like connecting with your priestess version of yourself. And let's get another card on that, because I think someone's really feeling that. Okay. Oh, we get 7 of Wands, but reversed. Okay, I do get that someone is pushing people away. Maybe you're pushing someone away? It is reversed, so you are wanting them to come into your life, but somehow you're pushing them away without realizing. That's what I'm getting. I think this would have meant actively pushing away. You just want to be alone. But here, reversed, I think is indicating to me you are pushing away, actually not realizing that you are. What is causing the push away? Why is it subconsciously maybe pushing away? Okay. Oh, okay. We did get the Tower, but reversed. The Tower card reversed, which also adds up to 7. Okay. The Tower card reversed, but I'm taking this reversed card, right? So the Tower card reversed. Okay. Yeah, why are we pushing people away? Okay, this is the message I get. There's either something to do with your past, something that is still lingering from your past. The Tower card is indicating that it needs to be either let go of, or something, yeah, something that in the past maybe shook your world. Something in your past shook your world, and it's still kind of like rearing its head around the corner in your life. Yeah. More information needed. Why are we pushing subconsciously certain people away? Maybe there are people who are wanting to enter your life, but they can't because there's oh, we did get 4 of Emotions, which is all about kind of like this card is all about like not realizing how like your perspective is slightly skewed, maybe in this way, that perhaps you're focusing on why am I, you know, why have I not got the partner, but there's something in your life or certain people in your life who have been trying to approach you, but you haven't noticed them. Your eyes have been focused on the right person, calling the right person in, but not on the what already exists. You know, there are people who are into you, really into you, and perhaps you're thinking, it's you're wondering about the other people, like past situations or people who haven't worked out. That kind of thing is what I'm getting here. Hanged Muse, the Hanged Man, all about a certain delay. Yeah, that's what is causing a delay. There's someone already in your periphery that perhaps is trying to approach you or is wanting to approach you, and maybe they already have, but you haven't realized it, or you haven't you haven't realized it because you're focused on either certain past things or certain unresolved issues, or you're delaying the process of meeting the person in case you make the wrong decision with the next person. So maybe you are meeting people already, but then you're like, I don't know, you know, before you've even met them, you're kind of thinking like, maybe it's not gonna work out kind of thing. Self-sabotage. we'll need to dive deeper into this. I think this is much deeper than I can realize actually here. I can go on about it, but there's something that has blocked you. Yeah, something that has blocked you, and it's to do with a couple of those reasons that I've mentioned, and I think it's going to be different for a lot of yous. Whoever is watching, it's going to be different. Okay, what else do we need to know about this love situation, or whatever love situation next we want to call in? Oh, okay. Right, okay. 6 of Inspiration, but reversed. Got it. Okay. The main message, what you are subconsciously pushing away, is because you are not seen at the moment. And it's a wound to do with either fear of being seen. Maybe you have a fear of being seen. What are your photos like on your social media or other places? Are you like kind of like side, you know, even though that can be very, very nice, that can be very alluring and, you know, mysterious. We love that. But are you being seen? Maybe it's the environments that you're in. Oh, I don't even think it has to do anything to do with like your inner inner wounds, more healing or anything like that you have to do. It seems like it's more to do with like logistical stuff. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. It's more to do with logistical stuff, especially if you work from home. How are you meant to meet someone, right? Especially if you work online, you know, people are going to assume sometimes that you are already in partnerships, that you are not single, you know, especially if you are someone who's got a thriving career, you know, online, or maybe it's not necessarily even online, maybe you work from home, you know. How are you meant to meet people? And if your hobbies are involved with more you know, like, I don't want to call it feminine, but you know, if you're going to like a pottery class, no guys go to pottery class. You're not going to meet someone there. Like, you know, it's more about, you know, in the sort of like past days before all the dating apps, how did people meet? People used to meet through communities. They used to meet through, you know, whether it would be like religious groups or something like that, you know, they would go to churches and stuff, and like, you know, that's how people would meet. What else? So people would meet perhaps through hobbies or their work environments, or, you know, whatever jobs they're in. Now you don't have that. It's different nowadays. And online, or what people perceive as you as, you know, being online is very different. Because you can be someone completely different in person than you are online. And that's very hard to judge straight away. That's something that, you know, people really need to kind of like feel your presence and really realize who you are. That's what I'm getting here, that you are not seen. You're actually not seen at the moment. That is what is blocking the love. The entire surrounding yourself putting yourself in an environment scenario, you know, where you are seen is going to be quite beneficial. So how can we do that? All right, how do we do that? Do you go to local communities? What do? You know, if your work is like predominantly working from home, how do you put yourself out there? What can you do next? Let's get an oracle card about that. Let's get you out of this mess, especially if you're wanting like if you're actually wanting a relationship, you know. I think all the desires are meant to come true. Oh, okay. The card that you get is loneliness. When you stop fearing your aloneness, you stop settling for less than you deserve. May I embrace and love my solitude. And that's when kindred spirits can finally come. If there was a message, this was it. Okay. When you stop fearing your aloneness, you stop settling for less than you deserve. May I embrace and love my solitude. And that's when kindred spirits can finally come. Oh, okay. I get it. Like, a lot of people are lonely out there. It is lonely out there. I mean, I remember when I was living in a foreign country by myself, and the amount of effort I had to like really put in building a community around me. You know, I remember I was living in a village, not a village, but basically a village in East Germany, and I was I was really putting myself out there in like different, yes, yoga classes, but also like I was going to like different hobbies, you know, and building community through that way. Even though I was, you know, also doing my readings and stuff, but I was still going out there and meeting people that way. And that was so important. So important. I don't think I could have even survived those 2 years in such a small place by myself, not speaking the language, you know. Well, I did eventually, but it was through submerging myself in these groups and trying to make an effort to really getting to know people. Yeah. Yeah. And you know, in that time, and you know, there were people who were asking me out, but I just wasn't open. I just felt like, you know, oh, I wasn't ready. And when I did go on dates and stuff, you know, and then, you know, it wouldn't work out, but at least I was putting myself out there at certain points. But then at some points it was like I would somehow automatically like not put myself out there either. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of like opportunities are there, then you don't put yourself out there, but once the opportunities go away, then you kind of miss them as well. Maybe there's a bit of that as well coming up. But anyone who's feeling loneliness, yeah, when you stop fearing your aloneness, you stop settling for less than you deserve. Okay, so maybe your energy right now is kind of like, you know, there's something that just came into my mind right now, a book that I read, which was Matthew McConaughey's autobiography. It's very good, actually, if you haven't read it. And there's one part of it which really like was so poignant, where Matthew McConaughey talks about he is, I think he's in like the Amazon somewhere, and he's just like lying by himself alone, and he hasn't got a partner in his life, and you know, he's just like surrounded by this beautiful nature in this Amazon forest, and you know, with all these animals, and he kind of like thinks to himself, you know, if after basically a series of relationships that didn't work out, and his past, like, you know, decisions that he made that he didn't feel proud of, you know, he's kind of coming to this conclusion that, you know, if it doesn't happen right now in that moment, I'm okay, I am fine. He came to that realization, really accepted that if he was gonna be alone, fine, you know, maybe that's it. And he came to that realization and that acceptance that, you know, I have to just accept it, which is, I mean, you know, he's now married, and we don't know if they're celebrities, you know, we don't know about their lives, but he's married and has got kids and everything. So do believe that it is going to happen for you, that it will come for you, and it's just that your timeline is different to others. And you don't know what other people go through, right? We don't know. So comparing to them is just really not really productive. Yeah. But this is the message I get if someone who is feeling this loneliness, you know, embrace your solitude in some ways, but also put yourself out there. Put yourself out there, not just for, you know, the purpose of finding a life partner. Yes, life partner, or, you know, whatever you're looking for. Not just for the purpose of that, but even to just connect with other people and see where that's leading you. Sometimes things come in very, like, unexpected ways, really unexpected ways. Yeah, let's get one more card and then I'm going to end this reading soon. What are the last messages about love we need? Ooh, I'm going to take this one. This one just kind of came out a bit. Courage. Divine courage is not the absence of fear, but a nudge that says, keep going, do it, don't worry, all will be well. You have to get quiet enough to hear it. Dear Divine, may I feel your courage and your will. Maybe that's what someone needs right now. Putting yourself out there, despite, you know, perhaps not despite, but like, yeah, despite like being hurt in the past, but also, oh, excuse me, despite being hurt in the past and going through quite a lot of situations that weren't good to you, but also simply because we are here to live our lives, right? It has to be a flow. And when you stop kind of like going at that in thinking like, oh gosh, what lesson is going to teach me now, gosh, you know, in fear, it's more like, it's not necessarily the point of life in a way. You know, there are so many people who are in marriages and still, you know, search for certain things, that connection. You know, they still long for a connection, a deeper connection, whatever it is, that deeper meaning. You know, a lot of people say that, you know, may have been married and they still long for a certain connection or a certain, maybe even a spiritual connection. Like, people long for that. And that sometimes just comes later in life, a spiritual connection. I mean, at 21, I wasn't even spiritual. Like, I wasn't even awakened. There's no way I could have even known what I was wanting, you know? And also that's just been my path. You know, it's just been my path as thus far, and I couldn't have predicted it. And I think it's similar for you as well, if you are watching this and feeling this kind of like loneliness. That's what I would say. Have courage. Have courage in this part of your life. Okay, being yourself is sacred. I like that one. What else do we get? Gonna take a couple more. Be gentle with yourself. Yeah. Some of you might be beating yourself up, like, where is it? Like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong, actually. It's just your timeline is playing in a different way than you would have expected. You know, maybe for some people, it seems on the outwardly, you know, phase that it seems like it's working out. You know, even in like my past relationships, I never felt that was going to be it. You know, I never felt that. I just felt like there was just more. I had this intuitive nudge that there was just more to play out in my life. More experiences that I wanted. Not just about that, but like living in a different country, really going on a spiritual journey. I felt like there was more coming. Any partner that I've met in the past, any relationship that I had, I always knew as soon as it started that this isn't a long-term thing. This is, you know, this is more of a, I don't know, like it led me to certain things in my life which I couldn't have predicted. And sometimes that's all it was, you know. But that doesn't mean you block it, right? You're not going to say no to it because it makes a fun life. You're going to later on be telling your kids about these stories, or like your friends, you know. Your life perhaps is much more interesting. There are people who are living vicariously through you because you have an interesting life and like a fun life. And perhaps that's what you actually wanted. And because society pressures are there that like you should get married or have kids by a certain age, you don't necessarily do that. You know, you don't necessarily feel like you've accomplished anything. But actually you've had quite a fulfilling life. And that's very underrated. You know, that's why I make these videos, because in our very patriarchal society where our salary, the amount of money we make, and the job title, and having all of our life in order is celebrated so much more than fulfillment, being authentic, having good friendships, living every day, feeling really, really kind of like just happy. That inner happiness, inner peace. And as well as that, but just generally having a life which is on your terms is much, much more of an achievement, I would say. But it doesn't have to be one or the other. You know, you don't have to choose one or the other. You can have both. I'm a full believer of that. It's not or, it's and. Slow change. Okay, there have been certain slow changes. You know, maybe you're wondering like, you know, the things that you've gone through, they have like slowly changed. That's why you have to be gentle with yourself. It's just been a slower change, yeah. And sometimes Sometimes it's not really up to us, right? It's all for a reason. Yeah, you don't know the reason. You don't know the conversations and things that you haven't heard, all the conversations that universe has heard, or the scenarios that universe has seen. And that's why you have a limited view of like perhaps what past situation you are hung up on, or like other people, you know, you're wondering, why did they ghost me? Why did that happen? Why haven't I found this person? You haven't seen the entire perspectives that universe has seen. Yeah, that's why it's all for a reason. Yeah, okay. I hope this reading has given you some level of relief in your anxiety, and not feeling sorry for yourself, you know, not feeling like, gosh, why hasn't it happened for me? Because it will. It 100% will. If that's your desire, it's meant to happen. It's textbook. It's just gonna happen. Okay, you're not meant to be alone in this lifetime. I don't believe we are meant to be alone at all. No, that is not the case. It's just your timing may be different because you've asked for something that may be quite different to other people. You know, maybe other people are fine with having a partner, and maybe you are someone who wants a very aligned, highly conscious partner, and maybe that just takes a bit of time, right? Yeah, that's what I would say if you're feeling this. But Venus is direct, so things will be looking upwards from now on. I would really encourage you to make a journal prompt, you know, kind of like a journaling exercise for yourself, where you write down what did you learn in terms of these past two months, or however long we've had, you know, in this past scenarios. What have you learned really about love, beauty and money, and what do you want going forward from that? Because I am now super clear on what I want next, and that excites me so much. Excites me, like having the clarity of what you want is so exciting, that now I'm just forgetting the past. Anything that didn't work out in the past, or, you know, certain situations, or like not just romantic, you know, anything to do with those themes that I've just said, like even money things, you know, I've let them go, because what's about to come into my future is so much more, because I've gained clarity, and perhaps you're gaining that clarity too. And if you're not, reach out to me. That's what my sessions are for. You can book a session. I've put them in the description box below. And that's what I'm here to help you with really determining what is going on, you know, like how to gain that clarity. But I can promise you that clarity will come, and because it came for me, and it's actually because I've been like journaling, I've been processing things so that you make space for things that actually matter in your mind, right? So they can take precedence, and they can actually be the things that you put your energy towards. Yeah, and that's what I'm getting here. Okay. Yeah, that's all I have for you. If you enjoyed this reading, do give it a like and subscribe to my channel. I try and post one video per week, but if not more. And this week, you've had the luck of having a lot more. Okay. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.